The views and opinions expressed by the hosts do not state or reflect those of the company and its management. Any assumptions, views, and insinuations made by the hosts or guests do not reflect those of the show, the management, and the network. Listener discretion is advised.
Warning. This podcast contains spoilers.
Third World Cinema Club.
Taking of photographs or video and audio recording is strictly prohibited inside the theater. Mahigpit pong ipinagbabawal ang paggamit ng kamera o anumang uri ng video at audio recording equipment sa loob ng tanghalan.
Welcome everybody to Third World Cinema Club. I'm John Tawasil from Present Confusion.
I'm DJ Ramones from ReverseDelay.net.
I am Princess Kinok of Film Police Reviews.
I am Jim of Jimilicula at Iba Pa.
Hello, I'm Engelbert Rafferty of Film Police Reviews.
Louis Baharom of Cinephilia.ph.
Yeah, so let's move on. Let's move on to the next film. Ang Pagpakalma ng Unos. Ang Pagpakalma ng Unos is a film, or actually a documentary film, directed by Joanna Vasquez Arong. It's basically a documentary telling the stories of people or experiences during and after yung hagupit ni Typhoon Yolanda. So ilang taon na ba ang Typhoon Yolanda? Hindi ba 2013 pa yon? Tagal na,
7 years.
7 years na. My God. Pero
Yes, 2013 nga yun.
What's happened since then? Parang, Diyos ko. And it shows us parang dinaanan ka na nga ng isang unos in the form of a typhoon and a storm surge. Yung pangalawang unos naman ay parang ineptitude ng gobyerno mo. What do you think of ang
Ano lang, short comments lang. Siya, very simple siya. Very, parang narration overlaid over footage, ganun.
Yeah.
Pero so, I found it to be very powerful for what it says.
Okay.
More so sa sa sound design na parang sobrang haunting, sobrang horrific. Pinaparamdam niya sa iyo talaga yung trauma na tawag dito, na-inflict dun sa mga victims ng typhoon. Yun lang naman.
Ayan. Anyone else wanna chip? I think personally for me lang, this is my favorite film of this year's selections. Like Louis said, it's a very powerful film. It's napakasimple niya, and it shows na yun nga, that there are two disasters that happened here. A disaster that cannot be avoided, which is yung typhoon itself. Unless parang X-Men ka, hindi mo ma-stop yung storm that's coming. And the second disaster, which is completely preventable, which is a disaster of leadership under the Aquino administration. I'm sure there are a lot of people that will see this as bakit nyo parang vinivillainize ang administration na yun. Pero personally, talagang pagkakamali nila yun eh. It's a part of a systemic problem na nagpe-persist even before kay Aquino pa, yung pamumulitika ng Pilipino eh. So, talaga siya, sobrang sakit sa loob na hanggang ngayon ganyan pa rin ang problema natin. Parang naghanap tayo ng pagbabago, para nalinlang lang ang mga tao. Ganun ang peg. Pero on the other hand, may parang pagka-hopeful naman siya at the end, na tipong nakikita mo yung mga tao ngumingiti, they're recovering from it. So there's parang hope na even with parang 2 consecutive quote-unquote disasters, may resiliency pa rin ng mga tao for the future. Ayun. Any more thoughts on this film before we move on to the next?
Ako question.
Yeah, go.
Kasi I've already expressed my love for the film everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's a platform for me right now to say anything. But 2 questions. The first one, this is for everyone and depends na kung sino yung gustong sumagot.
Sure.
Yung first question ko is regarding sa ethical responsibility of filmmaking. Kasi many reviews that I've read, they've questioned the fact that these are just a collection of newsreels, photographs, and whatnot. That the whole team did not even capture. And it also questions the capabilities of the director because it was not edited by her. It was edited by Lawrence Ang. That's my first question. My second question is, there's one particular film reviewer, and I'm not gonna mention the name, but I just wanna say na he expressed his thoughts about the film as though it's a collection of nothingness, that it doesn't have anything to say, that it doesn't have its own stand. I just want to ask you guys if you agree about it to an extent, and if you do, why? If you don't,
kilala ba namin yung reviewer na yan? Rafi?
Ano?
Hindi
ako
read that
sure.
review.
Na,
Ewan ko lang.
Okay, sige. Anyone want to respond to that? Ako mamaya na ako siguro after you guys.
Sagutin ko lang yung number 2.
Aha.
Hindi siya of nothingness, no? Kasi yun nga, pinapahayag niya yung incompetence ng gobyernong to, yung pamumulitika nila. So, anong nothing dun? Nangyayari pa rin yung hanggang ngayon. Being a documentary film, it only presents facts. Kahit true footage. Yun.
Ayun.
I highly disagree with that.
Princess?
Hindi siya documentary kasi if you will listen to the audio or dun sa narration niya, para siyang factual representation, yes, ng person who actually lived in Tacloban. So this is her reminiscing that memory of being there, of being able to express her grief and disappointment, personal level. And I think the personal becomes political. Kaya ginamit niya rin yung footages na yun. And I think there's nothing wrong with that kasi it's a film. It's not a feature sa TV or hindi siya backed ng network news agency. So it's someone's expression of freedom. If they do it by means of getting newspaper cuttings, just to show a bigger picture of that interpretation, then I still think that that's actually a film. And it's also a factual representation because it came from someone who experienced that tragedy or that loss.
Ako response ko to those two. The first one is I'm gonna say yung parang the narration itself makes the film parang quote-unquote original. Yun yung parang originality niya. Yung narration itself juxtaposed with the images. Parang the images themselves mean one thing. The narration itself means another thing. The combination of the two makes a different film experience. Kasi nakikita mo yung hinagpis na nararamdaman ng mga tao dun sa kwento. Parang ganun ang peg ko sa kanya. Actually, I like the point dun sa second Although I don't necessarily agree with it na wala siyang laman. Kasi meron yung asta ng pelikulang ito, parang hindi siya news in the sense na it's reporting facts to you. Para siyang kaibigan mo na kinikwentuhan ka na parang alam mo, ang sabi sa akin ng mga tao, ganyan. Nagkukwento siya sa'yo So this is like a friend trying to impart something that she learned from others to you. Not in a newscaster-like fashion na parang it's not spitting facts It's kung titingnan mo parang siyang hearsay or parang it's come to the point, I guess temporally, because since it's 7 years ago. And also yung in the realm of yung memory natin na siya, para siyang part na nung lore. Parang kasama na niya yung mga legends nung mga nung lugar na merong baboy na nagagalit, kailangan yung pakalmahin.
Tama.
Ganun yung peg niya eh.
Hindi, tama. Tsaka, di ba, if you listen to newscasters, when they do features about the Yolanda tragedy, they can't insert anything personal. Dito kasi nadadama mo yung galit niya eh. Kahit in a different language na nafe-feel mo yung, hindi hinag-peace, pero parang yung galit niya na hanggang ngayon hindi pa rin tapos, parang iniwan lang sila ng ganun.
Oo. Tas parang, ayun nga eh, kahit na hindi ko, kasi Bisaya to, di ba? It was narrated in Bisaya. Kahit hindi siya yung first language ko, mararamdaman mo naman yung feeling ng narrator eh.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't say this is parang documentary hybrid siya. It's not exactly a documentary. Although it uses some tropes of the documentary form.
And to add lang din to what y'all said, the fact that the events that happened, Typhoon Haiyan, Typhoon Yolanda, it happened 7 years ago. It also brings out yung memory. I mean, on a psychological perspective, how many among these people, kasi you consider the character, the narration, or the narrator rather, as possibly one of the people who were victimized or who were affected by Typhoon Yolanda when she was in Samar, and she's witnessed firsthand the experience of being in a calamity at such a high degree. Paano mo i-contain yung trauma na yon? Number 1. Number 2, paano mo siya i-control since may mga tao sa paligid mo na they are also sharing their stories, which is now being redirected to us. Parang tayo yung third level ng pag-deliver ng message from the other people, listening to stories that she's sharing based on what the other people in their community has experienced. There's a level of trauma na on a psychological perspective, hindi mo siya pwedeng hindi mo siya pwedeng i-limit or i-bound sa time. Kasi even if it's, say, 1 year, 1 month, 7 years, how can we say that a person has moved on from that? Kaya it's a scatterbrain I still consider it as a documentary, a very poetic documentary, in fact. Na kahit na very scatterbrain siya, you kind of get why. Because how can you express fully all of the things that happened to you at such a short amount of time?
May pagka-fragmented siya, no? Yung parang presentation niya. They're like, yung parang, ay, natandaan ko to, tapos sige, ikikwento ko sa'yo. Pasahan siya ng trauma ng isang memorya na matagal na nangyari sa'yo.
Pero you can be personal without being, kasi pag naging masyadong maayos siya, pabalik tayo dun sa newscast style na academic,
yun nga,
formal.
Kaya kung papansin niyo, may times na long yung pauses eh. Hindi siya yung like, after 5 seconds ng pag-end ng isang sentence, magsasalita na agad. May times na, there's breathing space for the narrator to express what she wants to feel. It's also like like conveying the trauma or the negative experience that she has had during that time, that calamity.
So let's move on to Living Things by Martica Ramirez Escobar. She won the 2050 Cinemalaya. Nung shorts din yung lineup for her film Pusong Bato. And this is one of her films since then. A Living Things, it's about this couple, si Kins Quintana and si Charles Salazar. Magjowa ba sila in real life or hindi ko alam? Hindi. Pero they're technically playing themselves, no? They're a long-term couple that's, doing stuff, I guess, at home or something like that. Until one day, Charles becomes a standee. So, hindi po ito factually, hindi po ito documentary. Ganun. Wala pong documentary on standee production in the Philippines. Pero, ayun, to be honest, I had to watch this a couple of times to get what it wants to say. One could either interpret Charles' transformation into a cardboard cutout either as a transition into stagnation. Kasi cardboard siya eh. What else has happened? Or you can interpret it as a subtle or a very profound change that affects the relationship. And to me, yung response ni Kintz doon is parang people can adapt to that to relationships. That's how relationships work. One gives, one takes. May plasticity involved doon sa relationships ng mga tao, and people change. People change naman. And some people stay the same. Pero if there's still love between that, parang who cares, right? Parang you're still in love. Parang it doesn't matter. Yun lang naman siya sa akin. What did you guys think about living things? Anyone wants to?
Ako,
Ayan, DJ, go.
well, generally naman kasi dito sa Cinema this year, mas nagustuhan ko yung mga absurdist surreal films.
Mm-hmm.
Pero I guess favorite ko itong Living Things kasi my adjective for it is tender. And I was surprised at that kasi parang I don't remember kung bato being this tender na parang it's much more accessible despite yung weird things happening with them. Ano pa rin yung hindi siya bago. parang kung paano nagsimula yung pelikula.
Ganun pa rin eh. No?
Hindi ganun.
Even though at the end,
pero
parang may irony na even though the relationship is pretty much the same, parang physically they're very different na from what they started out as. Parang pareho na silang spoiler alert, pareho na silang cut out at the end at lumilipad na sila sa hangin. Pero yun, I mean, may pagkano eh. When I first watched it, parang may ako to the medyo surreal na stories ni Haruki Murakami. Na yun nga. Parang walang explanation eh. Basta naging cardboard ako. And DJ, what did you think of the last shot na of people waiting, yung naghahanap sila ng commute na yung iba sa kanila ay cardboard na rin? Ano tingin mo doon sa scene na yun?
Hindi ko siya pinag-isipan sa kasi overall, if yung to your point earlier na what it is about, for me simple lang naman siya, exaggeration yung pag nag-uusap yung mga couples, sabihin nila, pag bago ba ako, mahal mo pa rin ako. And if you take that to extreme, pag naging cut out na ba ako, time lang talaga siya eh. Pero just make a story out of it na ito yung resulta.
Yung pagkaano ko doon is I guess yung interpretation ko doon is parang yung mga taong yun, they're all having their own parang relationships. So hindi lang si Kintz tsaka si Charles yung may ganito. Parang it happens everywhere. Ganun lang. Let's go to Utwas. Utwas or Arise is a film by Richard Salvadico and Arlie Sumagaysay. It's about a father and son. They live in, I think this takes place in Iloilo, if I'm not mistaken. They live in an fishing community, and their primary source of income is the ocean. And the son loves diving with the father because he wants to learn how to fish. And there's angle here na there are times where they need to surface because other people are, while sumisisid sila, others are doing dynamite fishing in their area. It's a film about our relationship with the ocean. Ayun, DJ, what did you think of Utwas?
Well, to be honest, parang hindi ko siya masyadong, wala masyadong impact for me. And I'm not sure kasi kung what it's trying to say exactly. In terms of genre, ano ba to? Coming of age ba? Or is it about parang environmental story? Kasi merong parts about dynamite fishing that they didn't really talk about. Parang in the end, it didn't really matter the story. So, I guess this is more of yung just about a boy and yung
Boy and his father. Boy and his fish, ganun.
a boy and ocean, ganun. Pero may
Yeah.
scenes kasi dito, di ba, na in-emphasize yung beauty ng
ocean.
dagat.
Sa akin, nung pinanood ko to with the significant other, ang sabi niya, parang wedding videographer yung kumuha ng pelikula. Kasi ang ganda niya. Ang ganda ng pagkakuha. Pero
especially yung drone shot na.
Di ba, ang dami yung drone shots, ang daming underwater shots. Pati yung credits, medyo, talagang pinagtiyagaan yung outro.
Medyo petty, pero gusto ko lang i-point out yung title and credit scenes. Kasi, parang ibang level siya. For example, yung title pa lang, inanimate nila na yung water na perform ng letters.
Oh, di ba?
Tapos yung credits, para siyang pang superhero movie, pang Marvel.
Akala mo talaga super high budget and production eh. Pero ako talaga, nabitin ako. Na yun nga, agree ako kay DJ na tipong, other than yung pagka-slice of life niya, ano pa ang gusto niya sabihin? Na the sea gives and the sea takes away? Ganun ba? Is it a kind of environmental cautionary tale na huwag tayo may dynamite fishing? Kasi hindi ko naman na-feel yung mga dynamite fishers except for one or two scenes na wino-warn niya na nagpapasabog yung mga dynamite fishers ba't hindi ka umaangat?
This is about safety lang talaga. So guys, never dive alone. Parang
don't dive alone. Pag may dynamite fisher sa area, huwag kang umano. Hindi po to
wala.
Yun.
Dapat
Kahit wala.
may body ka pa.
Always take a buddy with you. Si Tatang naman, tagal niya magbilang bago siya tumakbo.
Tsaka na-feel nyo ba na parang si Tatay, parang chance of a lifetime na yung role niya? Ganon yung na-feel ko sa kanya.
Fairness sa kanya ha. I mean,
trinay talaga niya yung best niya.
I'm guessing they're non-actors. Malamang tama ako. And to be fair, production-wise, wala namang palya sa akin. Yun talagang story itself yung medyo,
parang, okay, so what's next?
Ayan.
Tsaka, yun nga.
Ayan. By the way, guys, hindi to documentary. Hindi namatay yung bata in real life. Hindi po to factually,
Let's leave it to Cobalt's imagination. Cobalt, yes.
To titanium draw. Titanium draw. Reviews. Ayan po. Hindi po to documentary. FYI lang. Baka kasi hindi mo na gets. We understand. Ayan. Ate Erica, hi po. We're trying to uplift kasi our colleagues, filmic consciousness. Kasi medyo medyo mababa pa. Kung in a scale of 1 to 100, nasa mga 3, ganyan. So, tinataas lang namin to mga 20. Para naman may...
Pero pala, just to add, gusto ko yung dedication ng filmmakers. Dalawa sila, di ba, na magjowa.
Magjowa ba sila?
Parang
ang cute.
Sabay silang nag-swim dun sa dalawang divers para makuha talaga nila yung perfect shot. Tsaka, spoiler alert, maganda yung kuha nung pagpulot ng basura in fairness. Parang, paano na timing yun?
Ang galing ng kuha nila in general. They're very excellent cinematographers. Yun lang.
Tama. So, parang technical-wise, approved. Pero,
otherwise,
para silang, naalala niyo ba yung friends natin last year na parang,
hindi, hi Tony and company, hi.
Sila yung parang, di ba, syempre, ang ganda ng build-up natin, ganyan. Tapos
maganda naman yung kuha. I mean, the CGI was fine, but...
Uy, hindi
Hindi
naalala mo yung sa bintana scenes. Like, pag gano'n ka na.
Talaga?
Oo.
Carry lang sa, although, I guess, I know the limit.
Gusto ko yung, anyways, yun nga. Parang, itong sila, kung siguro magiging friends natin sila in the future, parang, ang ganda ng technical props nyo dun sa
yun lang
aspects.
Po, ayaw na po
namin
magsalita.
Story-wise na lang, gano'n.
Ayun. Ayun lang. Diyos ko, Lord.
This show is produced by Cutprint Podcast Network. Executive Producer Patsy Ferrer. Head of Business Development KL Carpio. Creative Director Christine Alido, Podcast and Social Media Manager Nia Escondo, Sound Engineer Erica Santa Tomas. To advertise, email us at podcast@cutprintproductions.com.
Third World Cinema Club.